Hello and welcome to the Sports Hour. Of course, I'm Curtis Collings and I present it every day. It is 16 now, but you know what that means. It is time to jump into it. Welcome to a rather light sports day, if we're being honest with each other. I covered a lot yesterday. We talked Blue Jays for a while. We had a ton to go over. We had the Brewers series, and then a lot of that Red series, which did wrap up last night. And so we're going to be talking about that game extensively today. And then we're going to jump into an AEW Dynamite review because we had last night's episode, which was a lot of fun. Not as good as last week's, but not much will compare to that episode. It was pretty special. And then later on, we'll talk about football being back. I cannot wait for that game tonight. Eagles versus Cowboys, Philly versus Dallas. That's the same game. Don't think that that's two different games. I cannot wait. That's going to be a ton of fun later on. So we have some good stuff to talk about, but nothing much for the Panthers. Hunter Renfrow, the starting slot, but we've talked about that before. As soon as Coker went down, that was the big news. So we have nothing really else to talk about for the Panthers. Jason Horn's healthy. That's good. Ikeyam Okongwu was seen taking part in practice, but his status is 50-50 right now. He's currently nursing, I'm pretty sure, a foot injury. Never fun for the big guys. And shout out Austin Collings saying, "Man, the new mic is so good. It is so good. What an improvement. You can feel it. You can hear it immediately. It is, it's one of the best things I've gotten. To be honest, it's pretty cool. So very thankful for that. As just trying to set up the stream here, make sure that I got everything working, going right. There we go. So today is a fun day for the Blue Jays, but also slightly frustrating. I won't lie to you. There's some things about that game that I could leave, but a lot of things about that game that I could take if we're being honest with each other. So the things I could take, obviously the bats, the things I could leave, the pitching. But we'll jump into that. So Blue Jays versus Reds. The Blue Jays win 13-9, which is an unreal score. I'm glad we got the win. That's my first and foremost general thought, especially in a day where the Yankees and the Red Sox both lost. The Yankees were up. Hold on. Let me get this right because it is hilarious. The Yankees were winning. That's bad. The Yankees were up. It looks like 4-1 in the sixth inning, at the top of the sixth, and then it was 4-3, and then the Astros made it 8-3. Or no, 8-4, and then they lost 8-7. They couldn't mount the comeback. Haha, sucks to be a Yankees fan. And then the Red Sox lost 8-1 to the Guardians. So we're great. I will absolutely take a 13-9 win when both the Yankees and the Red Sox lose. That's best case scenario because now they're both 3.5 games back. So we can get swept by the Yankees. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But we can get swept by the Yankees and still be completely fine. Not completely fine. I will be panicking. I will be screaming internally and externally. But we'll still be in first, which is a crazy thought and not one that I had, especially because I was getting a little pessimistic there. And I will be a bit pessimistic here. I will not lie to you. It's going to come out because we will talk about this game that gave me crazy deja vu to the game Tuesday because we won 12-9 Tuesday, which... there we are. Dave Collings in the chat. Let's go Houston tonight. Of course, they're wrapping up their series with the Yankees before we face them Friday. So we want the Yankees off a loss. We want Houston to beat them yet again. We want them to be 4.5 games back. And then we're looking at no games for the Red Sox tonight. So they will remain 3.5 games back no matter what heading into our series with the Yankees. Maybe it, because of the game difference, will change the 3.5, but we'll see. Not for us and them, but for the Yankees. So yeah, let's go Astros, which it's something I never thought I'd say because I don't like them one bit, but I hate the Yankees more, so there's that. But the deja vu I was getting from the game before, 12-9 win, which is good, but not good. 13-9, it's better. It's not good, but it's better. Not where I wanted to improve. The offense was not the part of the game that I thought was, oh man, if only we could have scored more runs, that would have fixed what I think the issue is. No, that's not what I was saying yesterday. I was saying offense is great. I'm happy. 12 runs is 12 runs, no matter how you slice it. I mean, it's incredible. But 12 runs will win you a game no matter what. I would like to win games with 4 runs instead. That would be nice too. I mean, I will take a 12-2 win. I'll take a 12-3 win. That's also good. But I will also take a 4-2 win. I'm happy with those. And those honestly make me happier than these 13-9 wins. Although a crazy game to watch through and through. And yes, it's a horrible, horrible pattern, Austin, that you can never have good offense and good pitching at the same time. It is impossible. It's legitimately impossible. And I guess that brings us right into the big question of the game, which is, can we trust Bieber? And for 5 innings, the answer is a resounding yes. Yes, you can. This is a guy that pitched lights out for 5 innings, but not the second inning. It wasn't 5 consecutive innings, and he didn't pitch 5 innings. He pitched 6. So why am I neglecting 1 inning? Well, in that 1 inning, he allowed 5 earned runs. And looking at the game leading up into the 5th, so first inning, no hits. Second inning, 5 runs. Third inning, no hits. Fourth inning, no hits. 5 no hits. Sixth inning, no hits. He pitched a no-hitter other than the second inning. What a random game. What a random game. And the thing about that is, and the thing that's kind of okay with that, and that's it. The thing about that is the offense was there to support him, and the offense was there to keep the game basically 0-0, because we would score none in the first and none in the second, and then that's when the runs would kick up. So can we trust Bieber? I say yes. The guy pitched 5 no-hit innings, and keep in mind, 5 no-hit innings, 1 walk, and it was in the 6th inning before he got pulled to end the game. 1 bad inning where the Blue Jays would then make up for it tenfold. Well, not tenfold, but they would double it. They would score 13, which is more than double 5. So I'm with you. I'm a believer. I love it. And yes, we can trust the offense. This one is not a question. This one is a certainty. 12 runs and then 13 runs. I need to see this continue against teams like the Yankees and in ballparks that aren't Cincinnati, where the ball does fly a lot further. So we'll have to see against the Yankees. But this offense, I'll break it down. So the offense in this game, first inning, 0 runs. Second innings, 0 runs for us, 5 runs for them. Third inning, 1 run for us, 0 for them. Keep in mind, okay, it's going to be 0 runs for them until the bullpen takes over. Mental note. So, third inning, 1 run for us. Fourth inning, 2 runs. Fifth inning, 3 runs. Oh, that's a cool pattern. Sixth inning, 1 runs. Oh well, only 1. Seventh inning, 1 run. And then they scored 1 run in the 7th when we pulled Bieber. You know who came in? Oh, just the greatest bullpen in the league. The greatest bullpen in all of baseball, where no lead is safe. No lead is safe with this bullpen. And there it is. I love it in the chat. Shout out Dave Collings for saying, Can we trust this bullpen in playoffs? No, we cannot. That is true. That's shout out to my dad. No, we cannot. Every single time they come in, there will be bricks in my pants because I will be so nervous in this bullpen. No lead is safe with this team. We went into the seventh up 8-5. It's a 3-run lead. So basically, treat the game like it's 0-0, but we now have so now treat the game like it's 3-0. The starters are done. It's time for the bullpens to face off against each other. And then let's see what the offense can keep doing late in the game. And obviously, the Blue Jays kept going because 8-5 heading into the seventh is great, but yeah, number one league in heart palpitations is a understatement because yes, coming in the seventh would be Barucki. Ryan Barucki, I think his first name is. Yes, Ryan Barucki, who we got from the Pirates. That talent factory over in Pittsburgh they got, where they just breed talent and wins and good players. That's who we need coming out of our bullpen. Guys from the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think that's a great decision, guys. Let's do more of that. He gives up a 1-run single to Marte. Keep in mind, there was already people on base at this point. It was reached on an error and then walk and then 1-run single line to right. And then he got out of the inning, though, with a strikeout on Illa de la Cruz, which, hey, good for him. Got out of the situation. The Blue Jays would come up. George Springer would walk, and then we would get a 1-run single grounded to right by Addison Barger, who had a fantastic game, 9-6. So you score a run, we'll get one right back in the next inning, the top of the inning. And then they would keep going. Vladdy would walk, and then we would score another run, 10-6. Shout out to Bo Bichette, who has been very hot lately, pricing himself out of the Blue Jays. So enjoy him while you can, but don't order a jersey of him because he's going to be wearing a new one next season. After that, we'd get an RBI sac fly by Varsho, who has been quickly emerging as one of the best players, and his numbers are rivaling Vladdy, not in total value, clearly not in like OPS plus and all that fun stuff, just in the counting stats, the archaic old stats. He's rivaling Vladdy, and he's playing half the season. For reference, I'm pretty sure Vladdy has 26 home runs, I think 76, 77 RBIs, and Varsho has 18 or 19 home runs, and he's getting up there. He's nearing 60 RBIs. It's crazy because he's played not half the games, but probably about 2/3 of the games that Vladdy has, just over half. Now, you'd think this would be great, because all the runs would keep coming. We would get another run. This would be from Ty France, a 1-run single line sharply to go up 12-6. And of course, the final score. It's 13-9. We've won at this point. You don't have to worry. But you'd think 12-6, you don't gotta worry. But I'm worried because it's our bullpen. And of course, the final score. It's 12-9 because just the next inning, they would give up those 3 runs. And who? Varland. I'm getting sick of saying that. It was Varland, and it was Varland for all 3. And then Little would come and strike out a guy and get us out of the inning. I'm done with it. I'm done with this bullpen. What a bad acquisition. Crap outing from Varland. And the problem is, I feel like we've seen enough outings from him at this point to really come to an agreement that he is not a guy that can pitch in the playoffs at all. He will be good 1 in every 6 games, I think. It feels like when we come on here and we do the sports hour, there's one day, I think it was 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday, probably not yesterday, I think it was 2 days ago, where he pitched an inning and 2/3. That's 5 outs, 5 productive outs without allowing any runs. And his first game that he played for the Jays, he was great. But that was it. That's it. Every other game has been just garbage. Absolute just garbage, man. Pick up your trash and throw it over the plate and just get annihilated. I cannot stand it when he comes into games anymore. And that's a great question here. Is there one guy out of the pen that we trust 100%? And the answer is no. No. So we'll run through the pen because we can. I'll pull it up on Baseball Reference just because I feel like, that's going to be the most extensive way I can find out our bullpen, and we'll go over it together because that's what we do here. I could go off the top of my head because, off the top of my head, Hoffman, no. Nance, no. Little, no. Not 100%. Varland, no. Eric Lauer, I'm sorry, not anymore. Because we've ruined you as a coaching staff. Sir Anthony Dominguez, I'm a believer. Not 100%, but I'm a believer. I like him. He's got nasty stuff. His pitches got up into the high 90s. He gets himself into trouble sometimes with the walks. But if he can limit that, he's a great guy for getting holds, which is basically just getting saves in like the 7th or 8th. He's a guy that I can trust. I just feel like he just needs opportunity. If we give him opportunity late in the season and he blows it up, then hey, we tried. But I would rather give him that opportunity late in the season rather than in the playoffs. And hey, Dominguez is the closest. I absolutely agree. I'm glad that we're here in unison. So we'll look at the actual full bullpen here on Baseball Reference. Try to, make sense of what we have going on. So Yimi Garcia, I'm pretty sure he was shut down for the year. Yep. So that's too bad. Looking at the pitching, Jeff Hoffman, Yariel Rodriguez, no. I've seen more bad outings from him than good. Mason Fluharty, no. Chad Green, no. Sometimes he had a good stretch there for a little bit, but not anymore. Yeesh. This is where it really gets bad. It's Justin Brule, no. And that's, yeah. So let's just score 13 runs every single game in the playoffs and trust in this offense. Because I think that's all we can do right now as a fan base and as a team. Trust in the offense, trust in the starting pitching, and pray. Hold on to everything good and holy and hope as hard as your heart can hope that bullpen. Oh, we DFA'd Green. Okay. I mean, it's an arm. Thank you for that, Dad. I appreciate that because it was an arm. He wasn't good, but no one is good in this bullpen. It's an arm. I don't know. And he's a guy that played for the Yankees. Whether that means the Yankees can crush him or whether it means that he's good against the Yankees, who knows? That's a question for the playoffs, because if we want to win in the playoffs, we have to face the Yankees, basically. And Macho Man Trey Savage, we do need him to be the man. He had a good appearance in his first game, but we'll see. Do we run the 2-starter system in the playoffs? I don't understand that personally. I feel like we need as many starters as we can, and we have too many good starters for that. I get that you might only say that, like, Gausman and, like, Bieber should be starters in the playoffs, but I think Gausman, Bieber, Bassett's earned at least one start. Maybe becomes a really solid long relief, takes over 7th, 8th innings if he's comfortable with that. And then, of course, there's going to be Max Scherzer, who more often than not is good. He's just old. I think there's four at least, and then Barrios, who again has bad outings, but also has great outings and has started in the playoffs for us before. I'm pretty sure. I hope. I'm pretty sure he did that in 2023, not last year, obviously. Yeah, he was the one that had a good outing and then got pulled early against the Twins when we lost. Um, and I agree with you, Austin. Scherzer can still get a start in the playoffs. I agree with that too. He's not the strikeout guy. He doesn't get those numbers like that, but he gets outs and he gets good starts. And I get the argument for starting Biebs for a fifth and sixth inning, and Barrios comes in for 2 innings, and the less bullpen getting used, yes, but I feel like the better outings you get out of the starters, it helps, and then maybe that's why you run a four-man. You move Bassett or Barrios. I think Bassett and Barrios would be my guys to move to the bullpen, and then you got Gosman, Bieber, and then Scherzer as your playoff starters. And then, yeah, we got Breos and Bassett, who I feel like in games where the starters don't got it, they're reliable enough. And then we need guys like Eric Lauer to do exactly what you're talking about there in the chat, to play those fifth, sixth inning crucial roles where we need games saved halfway through. And he's going to have to be that guy because we cannot trust any other guys to do that. We can't trust guys to do it in the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning either, but, I think a lot of our postseason success, weirdly enough, hinges on if Eric Lauer can be a guy out of the bullpen, and we've not experimented with that one bit during the regular season, and I think that's going to shoot us in the foot. I really do. I think not having guys prepped and ready for what we're talking about right here, that fifth, sixth inning work, and then doing 2 innings afterwards. I do start Bieber for 5 and 6 inning, and then Brios comes in after. Do we trust Brios more than we trust the guys in the bullpen? Yeah, I do. But is he a guy that's ready to come out? And that's the biggest question at the end of the day. Are these guys ready to come out of the bullpen, and are they ready to put that mindset, in their head? It's a completely different mindset for relieving versus starting. It's fascinating, and it's really, all we can do is speculate as much as we can and question the coaching decisions, because I feel like we're not really getting prepped for playoff ball. We're just trying our hardest to win as many regular season games as we can, which at the end of the day is the point of the regular season. Yes, don't, fight me on that. But, the point of the regular season is to find out who's the best for the playoffs, to then find out who's the World Series champion. And so what's this all building to? It's the playoffs. And I feel like we're not prepping this team for the playoffs. We're just going through the motions to end the season. It's weird to me. And here we say, in theory, it's what Sir Anthony Dominguez, Yimi Garcia would have done if he wasn't hurt. Little, Nance. It's what these guys should be doing. They're just not great. So, a lot of question marks. And when you look at the statistics, I mean, a lot of other teams do have bullpen issues. It's just not as, as bad. The Yankees, yesterday, bullpen collapsed to end that game. It's trouble in paradise for a lot of teams here. But, it's just when everything else goes so good, it really spotlights how bad that bullpen is, because the offense is so good and the starters are that good. It's just, yeah, that bullpen, it scares me, it scares you, and here we are, as you say. So, it's going to be a really fascinating end of the season. We will look ahead towards the Yankees series that is bound to kick off here. We'll look at the starting pitchers for the series. Of course, we'll actually look at the Yankees game that's going to be played tonight. That's going to be at 7:40 p.m. Football will be on, so who cares, really? But we do care. It's going to be Carlos Rodon, who's been one of their best pitchers. I think their best pitcher, in my opinion, this season. And then Houston's going to have Christian Javier, who's coming back from injury, it looks like. Or he's making a start when he doesn't really. No, he's coming back from injury. So we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't be shocked if the Yankees jumped all over him, but It's making me sick to my stomach talking about the Yankees, so I'm going to stop doing that. Friday's game is going to be pretty cool, pretty fun. We'll only talk about this one because we have the Friday to talk about the whole weekend. So we'll talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll jump into that AEW Dynamite review, which I'm very excited about. Because, the episode was pretty good. So it looks like Friday we're going to have Kevin Gausman starting for our Toronto Blue Jays, and then the Yankees don't have a pitcher announced yet, so we'll find out. But it's not going to be Carlos Rodon, so that's a good thing. And we're not going to be facing Carlos Rodon in our series, which I feel like, they have to pick up the win tonight against the Astros to stay in striking range with us in our series, but not having Carlos Rodon against the best team in the American League, that feels like a mistake. So hopefully it is. We'll see if it is. I'm nervous, I won't lie. And it really is just that bullpen. And we could talk about it for ages, but I think I'll wrap it up there. And we'll jump over to a little bit of AEW Dynamite review. So, very fun. The quick recap of the night. Of course, I got shout out to All Elite Wrestling, AEW. On their website, they release a well-written article, a recap of every episode. So, we'll be going over that. The quick recap before we really jump into it. Gabe Kidd sending a message. Darby Allin responds. They have a little brawl to start. The TBS Championship match with Mercedes Moné, Alex Windsor. Where does Hook? He came out. Ricochet and GOA had a promo. Sneeze. Wow, unavoidable. Mark Briscoe came out and some other people with him. We had the AEW Women's World Champion cutting a promo. Stat and Harley Cameron. They keep keeping that storyline building with the little Death Rider tease, and that leads right into the AEW Tag Team Championship match, which was completely unannounced, which is stupid. Why do you not announce a title match? They announced the TBS match. Why do you not announce the tag match? It's the thing that my very own Austin Collings was talking about. It's a good thing that Bandito and Brodito, is the tag champs, because they can, build the division up again with these two guys as the champions. So why aren't they? Why are they not promoting them? Why are they not tweeting Brodito defending their titles? Why is this it borderline felt, it wasn't impromptu because it was announced at the start of the show, but it borderline felt impromptu, which feels wrong for your tag team titles. I love these belts, and I love tag team wrestling, and that's why I hold it to a high standard, and I want it to be good. I want it to be good just as much as you do. But I will be critical of it because I see a common flaw, a common pattern going on in this company. And it's that they don't promote things that they should promote, and that affects the importance of it, and that affects how much people care about it. And that's what's happening right now with Brodito. Announce their matches. Announce that they're defending these things, because it I don't get it. It makes me want to pull my hair out, because these guys are amazing. Two of the best wrestlers on the entire roster, and they're your tag champions. And yet you're not announcing that they're defending their belts against the Death Riders, who's been the big baddies forever now. That's a marquee match, if you ask me. I don't know if you ask me, but apparently if you ask AEW and Tony Khan, it's not worth promoting before the card starts. It's not worth announcing to the public to get them to tune in and watch. I feel like it's a weekly occurrence. I talk about this. Bi-weekly if you include Collision. So, or no, not bi-weekly. That's every other week. Twice a week. What would twice a week be? I don't know. Twice a week. After that, at least, we had the Unified Champion, that beautiful belt on one of the best wrestlers of all time, Kazuchika Okada, cutting a promo on Takeshita, which we'll get into later. The Hurt Syndicate accept the challenge laid out by Ricochet earlier. FTR have a big pull-apart brawl with CNC. And then we have our all-star 8-man tag match. And we're seeing here the point about what Tony likes and doesn't like. And this is all, of course, speculation. But we could see it's almost like Tony doesn't value ratings nearly as much as seats sold. And that's coming in from my dad there. And honestly, you got a point. I mean, they're selling out buildings very often. I mean, Philly's been sold out every single night. And yeah, maybe it's never once been a ratings thing for him. Maybe it's just been a keep doing what you're doing thing. And maybe the ratings thing has always been made up by us. The Warner Brother deal was probably going to happen regardless of if they got 500K weekly or 700K weekly. And then with Max on top, who knows? But they're probably going to get that deal regardless. They're on TBS. They have no problem with that. They got money. They own Wembley. I'm pretty sure the Khan family owns Wembley. That's why they do all in every year there. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe they don't care about the ratings. Maybe they just care about putting on good cards, regardless of if it gets announced. Maybe they do treat it like regular television where they don't want to announce everything and they want it to be a surprise while you're watching. And so you stay hooked. I don't know. I do not know. So we will get into it as the card started off with not a match, but a fight between Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin as they were at each other immediately and no refs involved. And that immediately brought out Wheeler Yuta to jump in and everyone jumped in. And when I say everyone jumped in. Willow was in there. The Ops were in there. Of course, Hook came out first, played his music and everything to try to, help out and whatnot. And a lot of us thought it was going to be Orange Cassidy coming out after Hook to, it's the picture. It was Darby Allin, Hook, Orange Cassidy, and Danny Garcia, who's also fighting with the Death Riders. It was, we thought this was the moment. It was not the moment. Instead, after the Hooks, the Ops rushed out and just ran right past Hook. And that led to something later on in the card. But they start their beat down on the Death Riders. And Gabe Kidd and Darby are still going at it. And we see Marina Shafir getting into it. And then that's when Willow comes out. And wild. It was a lot of fun. And Darby Allin, big coffin drop. And then Darby Allin had a skateboard with tacks on the bottom of it. And they went into Yuta's back, and this was wild. This was a ton of fun. It was a crazy way to start the show, and I was into it. It then would end with Darby Allin going to the outside, Gabe Kidd chasing after him. You'd chloroform him, throw him in a body bag, and almost like being on a boat and then having a tube out in the back, and this body bag was tied to the back of the truck like a tube onto a boat, and Darby gunned it, and Gabe Kidd in the body bag goes tubing and almost crashes into a concrete pole and dies. It was close. Oh, was it ever? But a super fun way to end the segment and wild, and that's why we see in the chat there. Has anyone found Gabe Kidd yet? No, I think he's still driving. I think he's still on the road. I think they were. Where was this show at? I can't tell you. Oh, Philly. Philly. So they're gonna be in Philly again next week. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be their last Philly show. So he's not really driving it. He's just been driving in a circle all around Philadelphia for the day. That's my headcanon, at least. That's what I believe. Maybe he's driving him to the ocean. You never know. Pulling a Dexter and gonna, he's got the body bag ready already. So you never know. And so fun time. Really fun brawl. Crazy way to start the show. Jump over to the TBS title match. We had a really fun promo. Except I kept saying, why is this on free TV? I thought this was going to be our all-out match. And, well, that question would be answered later on. Lots of balls in Philly. Oh, put that image in your head. Oh dear. So, TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné defeats Alex Windsor. No surprise, as this was on free TV. 10 minutes in, they went on the microphone and said, 10 minutes left in the match. And I'm like, oh my God, are they really going to do a tie to lead into their all-out match? Because they announced the time limit. I'm like, well, they've done a lot of ties lately after announcing that. But no, Mercedes Moné won in a surprise roll-up. The match went like 13 minutes. They didn't announce 5 minutes left in the match. It was a good match. Nothing crazy. Nothing like remarkable. It was a solid 3 out of 5, maybe 2.5 out of 5. Like I'm feeling a light 2.5, a strong 3 out of 5. Not the finest, but it's okay. I mean, Alex Windsor's good, not great. Good though. And you know, could have really good matches depending on the opponent. I think an Alex Windsor Tony Storm program could be really good if they fought each other. But they're friends. Big story was about the sharpshooter that Alex Windsor loves to put in, but just couldn't do it, and she would lose to a surprise roll-up, and that would bring out Riho, the inaugural Women's World Champion, coming out, and that would then be the challenger at All Out in Toronto versus Mercedes Moné. Riho versus Mercedes Moné, and not Alex Windsor, and I feel very bad for Alex Windsor, if we're being honest with each other. That kind of sucks for her. I really thought this story was building up for that, but I guess it's not. So she got her Forbidden Door 4-way, and she got her title match on Dynamite, and that might be her story. Unless she interferes in Toronto somehow, and if she does, I will cheer her on. But yeah, so we're getting Riho versus Mercedes Moné, which is going to have a little 3-week build here. Depending on how much they do on Collision, they can have 5 or 6 shows to build this up. We'll see. That's all I'll really say about it. I'm not the most excited, but it's Mercedes Moné. She's great. And then Austin, of course, says she's just getting started. She'll be back. Yeah, of course. We'll see. That's my overall review. Next segment in the show was, where does Hook stand with the Ops, as Samoa Joe and Hobbs were doing a promo out back, and Hook appears, and they go face to face and they talk, and Hook says, you replaced me before my body even got cold. That's wrong. And Samoa Joe's like, I made the call. That's on me, but we had to keep going. Life moves on. Whether you're injured or not, but they were the trios champs, and they had to stay the trios champs, and that's why they got Hobbs. And Hobbs is like, I have your back, and Samoa Joe brushes him off. But they want Hook back, but Hook says, I don't want you to fight my battles. I don't need you to. And then the Ops say, no, that's our battle. We're gonna fight no matter what. And so I like what's going on here. Good face dynamic, and we'll see if Hook does it, and where he lies. Who's to say? I think he'll return with them, but there's also a chance he could be heel. I doubt he's going to be heel with this new return and the new look. Well, not look, but the new entrance theme. But he's back. Probably going to move the Obs. But maybe he goes solo and fights his own battles and goes for a title. Who knows? I still think the ceiling is pretty big. The ceiling is high. He's got a high ceiling in his career. I don't know what I'm trying to say. He could be good. He's got a lot of potential. Boom. Move on. Next point. Ricochet and the GOA. And this is the most I've ever heard the GOA talk in a promo before. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, so Ricochet says that his beef with the Hurt Syndicate goes back a long ways. And that he wants to, fight them at All Out Toronto and doing a trios match with the GOA and Ricochet. And GOA, the guys aren't outstanding talkers, but they're fine talkers. It was a good promo. It was, it was fine. Good enough segment. And then we got Mark Briscoe, a great talker, which is why I say it was a fine segment, because we got Mark Briscoe talking after. And Mark Briscoe is one of the best talkers in the company in a fascinating way, in a very unique way, a way that only Mark Briscoe can do. And so he's in the ring. He says it's great to be here. That's where he and Jay, his brother, fell in love with wrestling years and years ago. And then he said that his attention is on Kyle Fletcher for that TNT title. And then that gets complicated later on in the show, but whatever. Because he's challenging them, talks about Don Callis. Don Callis and the family come out. And then he demanded a match tonight. I need a match tonight against one of the members of the Don Callis family. And then and Rocky Romero stepped up first, which is hilarious because he's such a runt of a litter in that group. Which is funny too, because later on in the night, he'd kick someone and they would just completely no-sell it, which I just think is hilarious because I think everyone should just no-sell everything Rocky Romero does, because in that group, he looks like such a joke, and every group needs kind of a joke. He'd beat my face in if he heard me say that, but, he plays his role, is what I should say. And so, yeah, we got a little match with Briscoe and Archer, which was interesting. I mean, fun little impromptu match, and it was actually one of those moments where Mark Briscoe picked up the win with the froggy bow, which very rarely happens. Very rarely happens, I feel like. So I remember looking at my time like, whoa, he actually won with that. But yeah, it cuts off it ends a good segment there. That leads into the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, cutting a promo, calling the Philadelphia fans the Philadelphia Freaks. I don't know why I put the roll in the R. Philadelphia Freaks, slint be your ears. And then she cuts the promo by saying, but don't worry, darlings, God doesn't judge. That's my job. And I thought that was a cool line. And so did the person on the AEW website. Chris Statlander and Harley Cameron were then cutting a promo backstage afterwards, which got interrupted by who else but Wheeler Yuta, who still is trying to convince them to join into the Death Riders, and Harley Cameron and Chris Statlander are still very reluctant. Marina Shafir also comes out to be all spooky and scary and angry. And Yuta says that the Death Riders have her back. Just know that. And then they go out to the ring for their AEW World Tag Team Championship match, where Rodito would defeat Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. They retain their championships in this match that, again, I talked about earlier, felt kind of out of nowhere. It was a fun match. Bandito's an awesome wrestler. A picture-perfect 21-plex he delivers in this match, which was really cool to see. And, of course, Brody is a machine. The one thing, though, the area around the ring was so tight in this arena that it felt really hard for these guys to do the moves that they'd usually do to the outside. Not that it made for bad matches, just it felt like it limited guys like Brody, who his dives to the outside were very, it wasn't the same. It didn't leave as lasting of an impression, but a very cool match. And yes, a successful 21-plex. And then they do their cool little spinny doodad move and retain. I talked about it already. Promote these guys. I love these guys. Promote them. That's all. We cut backstage to Kazuchika Okada cutting a promo about how he is the top dog in the family. Bitch. Excuse the language, but I had to. Kazuchika Okada does not like Konosuke Takeshita calling himself the alpha, because he knows he's the top dog, and which is kind of crazy because Kazuchika Okada is kind of the newest comer other than Wardlow, who wasn't on this episode at all. Why? I don't get it. But regardless, Kazuchika Okada is the second newest member of the Don Callis family. and he's already calling himself the top dog and is like trying to take control. I think it's cool. I think it's been a lot yeah. And then Takeshita versus him, gonna be awesome. I know my boy Kyle Fletcher is gonna stick with Takeshita no matter what, so I'll at least have that to look forward to as well. Why is Wardlow not on TV? What happened? I like that, Austin. Takeshita taking the unified title. I agree. I think it's gonna happen. And somehow in this whole thing, Wardlow's going to be a non-factor. And somehow in the Mark Briscoe story, Wardlow's been a non-factor. And somehow in the main event, which we'll get into, Wardlow, non-factor. Why is he not on TV? Why bring him back? Why put him in the Don Callis family if you're not going to use him? I don't get it. Why was the impromptu match not Mark Briscoe versus Wardlow? Why was it Mark Briscoe versus Lance Archer? I don't get it. Simply put, I sit here and I think about it. I'm like, why? This guy, you bring him back and he's cool. We like him. Most of the time, we like him. Anyways, no Wardlow. We do get to see the Hurt Syndicate. Boom, 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 boom. We hurt people. I love these guys. I get to see them again in Toronto. I saw them in Texas. I was one of the loudest supporters in the section for these guys. Yeah, I guess that is the big reason. You don't want Wardlow to lose to Mark Briscoe, but I feel like Mark Briscoe is a guy who can take an easy loss on Dynamite, and that doesn't hurt his stock. But yes, thank you, Austin, for agreeing that why he's on TV is puzzling. It's because it is puzzling. But these guys being on TV, yes, it makes me happy. They accept Ricochet and GOA. They accept their challenge for All Out, which, hey, great. Very happy about that. It looks like we're going to get MVP in the ring, which is wild because this is a guy that was wrestling when I was 2 and 3 years old, and I'm now 22 years old. And yes, if you don't know, MVP does wrestle. Like, he has wrestled, I think, in the last 5 years in, like, New Japan. I think. Maybe not. It's going to be interesting. He looks in shape. He looked great in that promo. He's been wearing t-shirts more lately, which, showing off, I guess. And of course, the cane is a gimmick. He does not need a cane to walk. It's always been a gimmick. So don't get it twisted. He can still go. It's going to be very interesting to see, though. So yeah, Ricochet, GOA versus Hurt Syndicate, which is MVP, Bobby Lashley, and thank you, Renee. Always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, Renee. At the end of the promo. Every promo. So yeah. Interested. I'm interested. I'll let myself get into that. Afterwards, we have the FTR brawl with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, CNC. And this one, emptied out the locker room of, local talents. Everyone had to come out to rip these guys apart. Dax was busted open and bleeding. Cash was shirtless. Not sure what happened to Cope and Christian. They kind of just skedaddled. But in the ring, one of the local talents took a shot at Cash, and then they spike pile drivered him, or they spike pile drivered a different guy, and that's why he got in their face. Either way, it was pretty good brawl, honestly. And it was members of the ROH locker room. That's who I'm being told came out to restore order. And then we cut backstage to FTR challenging the guy that got in their face and another guy to a match at Collision. So we'll see that Saturday, in between some, college football, some North Carolina. Hopefully it's better than Monday. And then that leads into our All-Star 8-man tag match, which Tony Khan loves doing because we're getting a women's one coming up, I'm pretty sure, on Collision. So hope you like them. I mean, I do. I've been enjoying them. And this one was also a very fun match, which started off with the Young Bucks coming out with their Don Callis family members. Of course, yes, FTR. Bunch of assholes. Young Bucks are too, but Young Bucks are hilarious because of coming out to their Comic Sans entrance and and being broke. And they did a a meet and greet again for like $50 a person because they're broke again. And I love these guys. And this is what we expected going into this. Going into the match at All In was like, hey, it's either the storyline of No Swerve and Ospreay challenging for a year, which they could have done. I still think they could have done that, especially with them both being injured now. But they also could have run with the Broke Bucks, and the Broke Bucks are funny. They came out with Kyle Fletcher and Josh Alexander, and they would defeat the face teams. We would see the heels winning in the end here. As, of course, AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and Jet Speed would take the loss. And a lot of this match felt like it was building up to Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title. I don't know, I'm not sure for the TNT title, but they were the main guys going at it, and at the end of the match, they did a stretcher job to close out the show on Kenny Omega, and that is how we would close the show, and it is how we will close out our review. A very fun episode. If you want a grade out of 10, I'd give it an 8.6. Very fun, not as good as last week's, which was a 9 out of 10. I didn't give it that grade last week, but it definitely deserves it, so that'll close out our AEW Dynamite review. We got a little bit of time left here in Curtis Collings Presents the Sports Hour. It's been a very fun day. We're going, of course, till 1:15 as per usual. And so for this last little bit, football is back, baby. Woo! Can't wait. Cannot wait. We love it. We love it. Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles tonight. It's going to be a fun game. I really think it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be an Eagles defense that is recovering from losing a couple key pieces that might be giving up a lot more points than you would expect. And then it's going to be this Dallas Cowboys defense that sucks. That is just awful. So they're going to give up a ton of points too. If you want my prediction, I'm thinking a 35-28, a 35-31 game. I think it's going to be a blowout to start the season. Or not a blowout, but a barn burner to start the season. I think we're getting a huge game here. Cannot wait for that one. Dak Prescott's back. That offense for the Cowboys is back. I really see CeeDee Lamb going off for a touchdown and at bare minimum 90 yards. I think he's getting that 100 piece. And I think George Pickens can easily put up 60 yards and a tutty of his own if Dak Prescott can find him open deep downfield. Of course, it's their first game together. You never actually know what to expect, but I really like it. The O-line is still sharp. The tight end game is still good. And then those running backs are kind of bad. So they're going to have to be playing a lot of catch-up and a lot of airing it out. Because this Philadelphia, the offense is still good. They lost Kellen Moore to, of course, the Saints. He's now their head coach. So it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period for their offense. But I think they're going to shock the world by coming out with a bang, and then they're going to cool off a bit later because they're not going to have the pleasure of facing this Cowboys defense every week. If you remember last year, I'm pretty sure it was the Saints that faced the Cowboys and put up like 40 points. If the Saints can do it, and put up 40 points on my Panthers the week before. But if the Saints can do it, then you know the Eagles are going to put up some points. But football is back. I cannot wait. And yeah, I guess we'll do a little stat predictions. I think Dak Prescott's going to throw for 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception. It's Dak Prescott. Let's be honest with each other. I think CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to put his official number at, I think he's going to go off for 100 yards, touchdown. Simple. I think Pickens is going to get 60 yards and a touchdown, and then there's going to be another touchdown score somewhere in there randomly. And then for that Philadelphia Eagles offense, I mean, respect there to my Saints fan, Austin Collings. The Saints put up 40 points on him with Micah. They don't have him no more, so there you go. Cowboys defense is going to be so bad, and that's why Saquon Barkley is still going to rush for maybe 120 yards and 2 touchdowns to start the year. Philly's just going to go crazy. I think Jalen Hurts, he's going to get a tush-push touchdown and 1 throwing touchdown, maybe even 2 passing touchdowns. I think A.J. Brown's going to get at least 80 yards. I think Devonta Smith is going to get at least 70 yards. One of those 2 guys is going to get a touchdown. I don't think both. And then I think Dallas Goedert is going to get a receiving touchdown. Just, one of those guys that's going to casually catch one. So There's a few stat predictions if you want them. This is more, I'm a fantasy football guy, and so this is as much of a fantasy perspective as it is a real life football perspective. Do not bet on those lines because they're going to be wrong. I know that already, but that's the point. We'll come on tomorrow morning. I will review the footage and will laugh at myself for thinking, what is he talking about? So, here, list out official numbers to close out the show. For the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he's going to throw for 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 tush push. So that's 1 rushing touchdown. Saquon Barkley, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 80 yards, touchdown. Devonta Smith, 7 yards, no touchdown. Dallas Goedert, we'll give him 50 yards and a touchdown. Hopping over to the Dallas side, we'll get Dak Prescott for 260 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'll also give Hurts an interception, but maybe not. I don't know. I still do kind of like the secondary for the Cowboys to get at least 1 pick, and it's Jalen Hurts. He kind of likes throwing picks sometimes. Regardless. Back to the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, 100 yards, touchdown. Pickens, 60 yards, touchdown. Ferguson, the tight end, we'll give him 45 yards and a touchdown as well. But I think that's maybe they get 1 rushing touchdown with Javonte Williams. That brings them to the 28 points that I said they would. You know, shout out Javonte. I don't think it's going to be Miles Sanders doing the work. No way. So, yeah, they're my stat predictions. I'm not going to give you any more than that. Do not bet on those. I'm going to be wrong. And when we come on here tomorrow morning, I'm either going to laugh at myself for being wrong, or I'm going to laugh because I'm a genius. And maybe we should have bet on that. But no, don't bet on those lines. I don't recommend that. Just enjoy the game and enjoy football being back, baby. Woo! I can't wait. Of course, if you do not know when that game starts, it's 8:20 p.m. prime time Thursday night. And then that will lead into the tomorrow night's game, which is going to be Chiefs versus Chargers, which is also going to be a ton of fun. We'll talk about that more tomorrow, of course, on Curtis Collings Presents The Sports Hour. We are nearing the end of the show here, of course, 1:13. Ton of fun. Surprisingly good day for sports talk when we didn't really have a lot of sports to talk about. We'll close it off by saying Blue Jays needed an off day. This is very important for them. So important for them. A team that, especially that bullpen, as many days off for them, the better. We'll hope for the best. I'm going to expect the worst. But hey, we can lose a ton of games, still be in the playoffs. Just can't lose too many games, obviously. And I would like to go into the playoffs on the hot streak. And if we're making our, little Santa's list, I hope for Vladdy to finish hot and have better numbers. And I hope that Bo Bichette signs back for cheap. But we all know that ain't happening. So that will officially close out Curtis Collings Presents The Sports Hour. I do want to thank you for tuning in if you did, and if you are listening to this point. A ton of fun today, and of course tomorrow will be even more fun. As the season progresses, we'll of course get more Panthers talk. Tomorrow is going to be, of course, more Panthers talk, and more stat predictions for that Panthers game, and I think I'm going to do some stat predictions for every single Panther game, because why not? And I think I'm going to go crazy. I think I might do it for every Panther player, because why not? There's a line on one of the random betting apps that's Derek Brown for receiving yards, and the line is 23.5. He's our defensive tackle. I don't know. It's a free under. If you can find that and do that, maybe that's the only thing I'll recommend for today's episode. But if not, I recommend tune in tomorrow and do it again the next day. And the next day, Monday through Friday,